Hi friends, and welcome to Gilded Loop. My name is Matt, and today I'm bringing you another yarn review. Today we're going to be reviewing Caron Big Cakes, these guys. I have a couple to go over and review with you. They have multiple colors. These are a striped yarn, and I'm going to be reviewing 3 different colors with you today. The colors that we're going to be going over today are Nightberry. And this is what Nightberry looks like. So you're going to be seeing shades of blues and grays. We're also going to be going over today Peach Party. So you're going to have shades of pinks, purples, and peaches. Surprisingly, this was one of my favorites. I'm not really into bright colors, but I love corals and peaches. So this was a really nice treat. I will have full swatches that we're going to be reviewing today for the samples that I'm working up for you for these 3. And the last one that we're going to be looking at today is Chocolate. It's listed on Michael's website just as chocolate, but the yarn band does say chocolate with 3 M's. So this is what we've got going on today. So chocolate, peach party, and Nightberry. There are 9 colorways in total. So here's the deal. Michael's has a ton of different shades listed under these big cakes, but most of them are listed as out of stock. But if you go on Yarnspirations website and see what's available, they really do only have 9 shades. And some of those shades occasionally do go out of stock, but all the stuff on Michael's website that you're going to see, don't get your hopes up, because a lot of that stuff you can't get anymore. They're kind of a limited. Some of them were limited run, or maybe they canceled the colorways. I'm not 100% sure. Some of those older colorways were nice, but they do have 4 or 5 newer colorways. I'm going to go ahead and insert the graphic here. So go ahead and take a look here at the 9 different colorways that are available. I did check as of today on Michael's website. These are the 9 colors that are available. These balls are $12.99 each. However, Michael's runs sales. So these are exclusive to Michael's, by the way, if you haven't caught on to that. If you go on Yarnspirations website, they're going to direct you to go to Michael's. So let's talk about Caron Big Cakes. I love Caron, the brand. Caron, however you want to call it. I love this brand. I love the yarns that they produce. I have done so many projects with them before. A lot of their different yarn cakes that they have. Most of their yarn cakes are striping. Occasionally they'll have a variegated, and what I mean by that is striping is more like you have larger chunks of color, so you're going to have several rows of color, versus a variegated, you're going to have just real short bursts of that color. So they do a lot of these striping yarns. I'm not always a huge fan of the striping yarns, because when you're working a big project, I hate when it stops in the middle of the row. You can control it, meaning you can cut off the rest of that color and start fresh, but then you are wasting some of the yarn. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I like when you have easier transitions, and some of these are easier transitions, and the transitions, they don't stand out as much, and a lot of it just depends on the stitch pattern that you choose to go with when you're working these up. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. But I just wanted to say Caron is a really great brand. I've always been pretty satisfied with their yarns and pretty happy. So this is a 100% acrylic. It is a 10.5 ounce, 300 gram. So depending upon the stitch pattern that you choose, if you were going to try to make a baby blanket, you could most likely get it done with 2 of these cakes. If you were using a more yarn eating pattern for your baby blanket, you might need 3, but you wouldn't use the full 3. You'd probably use 2.5. But you should be able to get a baby blanket done with 2, which is nice. It's not a whole lot, and you can probably find 2 of the same color in store. Okay, let's get back to the stats here. So we're at 10.5 ounces, that's 300 grams. You have 603 yards in one cake. They recommend a 5 millimeter crochet hook, and this is a 4 medium weight worsted weight yarn. I chose a couple different patterns for our yarn swatches today, and I worked up pretty good size samples. I wanted to make sure to get through the whole colorway so you can at least see all of the different colors, because I would tell you right now, you're looking at this ball, you're not seeing all the colors in here, and I can tell you that from experience from having worked it up. As I'm working it up, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't notice that that color was in there. But it's hard to tell because the variation of color is so subtle. So there are stuff in here that you don't necessarily see. They're close shades, but they're just a slight difference, which we'll take a look at in just a minute. So again, you can get this at Michael's. The way Michael's works, and I don't know why they do this, they give you a better deal if you get the yarn online. Even if you order it online for store pickup and let the associates there shop the yarn for you, so you're just going there to pick it up, they do give you a better deal than if you were to just walk in there and buy the yarn from the shelf. I'm really not sure why they do that, and I think that that could be problematic for them in the future. But you can walk in there, you can put your hands on the yarn, you can look at the yarn. You can get a sale. You have to check the Michael's app. So download the app, have it on your phone. You'll be able to see what coupons are available for in-store versus what coupons are available for online. Sometimes they're the same. Sometimes the online coupon is like 10% more. So for example, the coupon might say that you get 20% in-store or online, whereas maybe you get 30% online. The other thing I noticed about Michael's is if they're running a really good sale, so I would constitute 30% or above. So sometimes you get 30, 35, and occasionally even a 40% off. Do it that day, because there's no guarantee that that sale is still going to show up online the next day. Because there's been times where I'm like, oh, 35% off, that's a good deal. I start putting my cart and everything together, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish this tomorrow. And I go in tomorrow, and now it's down to 20%. So they do like these short bursts on their website versus in store. I think that they're more consistent with that 20%. You can usually get something in store. And a lot of people that I've talked to say that maybe they'll go in store, they'll figure out everything that they want. They see that the deal's better online. They'll do store pickup, and they'll go do some other shopping or whatever. And in an hour or two, they get that notification that it's available for pickup, and you just go pick it up on the shelf. Depends on how strict you are with really wanting to get a good deal that day. I like it because it's one of the only places you can still go and you can put your hands on the actual yarn, which is important because sometimes you see things online and then when you see them in person, they look completely different. This peach party looked a little bit different in person, but I was very happy with how it looked. Anyway, I'm going to stop jibber jabbing and let's go on over and take a look at the swatches. I think you're going to be impressed. So first, just to let you know, I used the Susan Bates 5mm ergonomic hook for everything. It recommended the 5mm hook on the package. So whenever I'm working up these swatches, a lot of times I like to use what they're recommending. They do tend to put some research into those recommendations. So so first we're going to go over Peach Party, or Partay. So I don't think I quite worked up half the skein, but I got through all of the colorways, and it looks like to me the colorways repeat 3 times. I'm a center pool person, so I got to this colorway. It started with this color. I got to this color a second time, and it looks like that color is right there for the 3rd time. And I see that pretty consistently in all the balls. So the colorway tends to repeat itself 3 times. So let's go ahead and take a look at this yarn swatch that I have. Okay, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit here. All right, so this is where I started. This was my starting point here. This stitch pattern is the drop double. I will go ahead and insert in below one of my recent videos that I did, a tutorial demonstrating how to do the drop double. But the nice thing about the drop double is it kind of pulls the color into the other in this row. But anyway, so we started out with, like, I would call that like a tangerine, like a light peach. Then we went into this purple color, into like a pinky fuchsia color. And let's go ahead and come up a little bit to see more of the stitch pattern. This is one thing that I do like about the Caron cakes, is the stitch pattern's pretty decent. It's not the best I've ever seen, but it's certainly nice and visible. So they do have nice stitch patterns, or stitch definition rather. The color's pretty solid. Sometimes you notice a little bit more marbling. This was the only spot here that had a little bit darker, but it was getting towards the end of that colorway. So into the pinks or fuchsia. Then this is where I had the surprise. When I was looking at the ball, I did not notice that these were 2 different colors. And I noticed this in every single one that I worked up, that it was kind of like this. So here you have a tangerine, and then this is just a little bit of a brighter color. And just to compare, see, these are all different peach colors. So you have this light, and I wouldn't even call this like a medium and a dark peach. It's just like slightly different colors. So let's see if we can come up a little bit. So we've got what you can see there. Leads into, this is like a bright, and then this is the lighter color. On camera, this is coming up a little bit more orangey, but this is coral. This is 100% of the day a coral color. So this is coral. This is a little bit more peachy. This does not show. I'm looking at my viewfinder and it looks a little mustardy, but it's absolutely not in person. It's definitely like a brighter coral color. This is what I would call peach, this light color. And then this is more of like a neutrally colored peach. And again, the color is pretty consistent, but when you get a little bit towards the end, you have a little variation, maybe a little bleed or something. But yeah, so we have, this was the dead center, so a little bit peach, purple, fuchsia, peach, peach, and peach, 3 different shades. I was really pleasantly surprised with this. I think that this would make a beautiful scarf. This is actually, I love this yarn so much that all of these, I'm actually starting projects with them. So this is going to be a panel. I'm going to be making a panel blanket. It's going to be a baby blanket, but it's going to be a paneled baby blanket. So I'll probably do like 3 panels. So that's that. I'm saving the chocolate for last because I knew I would like it and I knew that it would impress me, and it did not fail to do so. So this is the Nightberry. So again, that first one was Peach Party. This is Nightberry. Now, with the Nightberry, I did a C2C granny stitch. I love the C2C granny stitch much better than a granny row. I just think it looks elegant and really pretty, and you don't have to be complicated. The C2C looks gorgeous. Even the pattern that they have on the ball band is a C2C pattern. I think it's C2C, just like double crochet stitches. But this I really liked. Okay, so let's talk about the colors. This is the peacock. So it starts out with like a peacock. This is like a medium country blue. Then we have not quite charcoal, but a darker gray, or just standard gray. Then we have like a light gray. Then we have, this isn't quite baby blue, I call it like a light country blue. And then it leads back into the peacock. I did notice that like these peacock colors are not identical, but they're pretty darn close. Again, same thing. You have a little bit of color bleed when you're reaching towards the end of that row. So we had a little color bleed there towards the end of that row, a little color bleed there towards the end of that row there. There was a little bit here. You can't really tell, but anyway, so that is the C2C. Here's what I really like. I bought this Nightberry a while ago, and I just recently got the other two shades, but I bought this because I really liked it. I was thinking of making a cardigan sweater with it, but here's what I really like. Like, this is more of a neutral palette, or if you're making a blanket for a gentleman, or your son, or a niece, nephew, or anything like that. This will just a very kind of masculine colors. Not that it couldn't work for other things, but it's nice masculine colors. They go together. They marry so beautifully together. The blend is subtle. You're not seeing stark color changes, but we'll do a little more of a close-up. And again, these are just granny clusters, so you can kind of see all of the different colors. But I'll do a little zoom in as well. But yeah, I really like this one. I'm really excited. I'll probably work on finishing this one first, because C2C granny stitch, I could close my eyes and do it. It's just like, you don't even have to think about it. But super pretty, very much like it. Okay, the last one, chocolate. So you have all the different chocolate colors here. You have black, gray, almost like a cream for like white chocolate, I guess. Lighters, a couple different shades of browns. Okay, I wanted you to be able to see what this looks like in the round. So here we go. This is chocolate. And I did this in a continuous granny square. Needs to be blocked a little bit, but okay. So this is, I've used this pattern before for a continuous square, and I like it. These, like I said, just need to block it a little bit because it's a little wonky, but this is a half double crochet. I don't necessarily like the double crochets with these patterns. A lot of people do double crochet and then the rounds of the granny stitch. But I want part of it to be like a very solid. So I do half double crochets with mine. So half double crochet in the center gives it a little bit more of a solid look. So not counting the center, the magic circle here, I had 4 rows of half double crochet. So I did 4 rows of half double crochet here, 4 rows of granny stitches, 4 rows of half double, 4 rows of granny stitch, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. So I'll continue that throughout the entire pattern to make a full continuous granny square blanket. I've made continuous granny squares with just the granny stitch, but I just think it adds such a richer texture. Again, you can do double crochets and then granny stitches and double crochets and then granny stitches. I just personally prefer the half double because it gives it a more solid look. So this is what we're dealing with here. We started out pulling from the center and we had this like tannish color, and then it went into just like a slight variation, just a little bit darker when we went into here, and then we got into the white chocolates, and then you can see here that, you know, when you're doing a continuous granny square, it's going to bleed into the row before, unless you color control. But if I were going to color control this, I would have to remove this whole outer berm. So I would only have 1 row of the white chocolate, if you will. So I like it. I think it kind of goes. But anyway, so then we go into charcoal, and then black, and then a brown chocolate. And then I just loved this. This is what surprised me. I didn't know that there were 3 different colors here. So we have this colorway, and then it went into this little bit lighter one. Actually, I think there's 4. And then there's like a medium, and then a darker brown, and then I would call this taupe. And then here is where it started to go back into the original color, that tan color. So let me zoom back out so you can see the full thing. So continuous granny square. I think this is going to be a showstopper. It's going to be stunning when it's all done. These colors just marry really well together. I'm not a big fan of when there are certain balls that just do taupe and browns. The black and the charcoal and the white is what makes this colorway work so well. So I really, really do like it, and I think it's going to be gorgeous when it's done. So anyway, that, friends, is chocolate. And you can see, again, there are little sections where you just have a little bit of a darker bleed. Okay, yeah, let me go up a little bit closer so you can see. I know the lighting is sometimes a little bit better once you get a little bit closer. I really, really like it. This is one of the new colors, and I approve. So anyway, that is my video for today. Chocolate, Nightberry, and Peach Partay. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the things. And thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Hopefully you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.